out for a lot of those games, and also Jakovich out for a lot of those games. As we have a look at the Adelaide side, well, they will be missing Sean Wren this afternoon. Mark Micken, last year's best and fairest winner, is playing in the ruck, filling in for Sean Wren, but I think they will really miss Sean Wren in the ruck, and also Jarman out of the middle with a hamstring injury. So they've got a couple of class players out of that side, Robbo. Nigel Smart, a very good player at fullback. Rodney Maynard, the only Adelaide Crows player to play in every game since their inception. He's been a very good player for Adelaide. Yes, well, good to see Jakovich back in that side. Also Sean Wight. Gary Lyon has made a big difference to this side since coming back from injury. And also the spirit of Andy Goodwin. He's named at full back, but he's been very good and has provided a lot of drive for Melbourne.
And of course, Peter McKenna will join Bernie and myself in commentary this afternoon. But down on the boundary line, there's a brave man, John Casey, with the Mitsubishi Motors ground report. John.
Yes, good afternoon, Robbo. Good afternoon, everyone. Conditions down here at the moment are a little bit more pleasant than they were just a few moments ago. The current temperature is 9.8 degrees. You can probably see on the weather gauge here some spots of rain. It has been raining quite a deal throughout the pre-match entertainment here. The forecast is for cold with isolated showers, possibly hail, which doesn't suggest we're going to be in for much of a day. The humidity very high, 95, 96%. Dark clouds still overhead, and the wind, well, it is going to be a factor. It will be blowing to the left of screen, the northern end of Football Park, which is the non-scoreboard end, if you like, for those of you who aren't familiar with Football Park. The expected top temperature is a cool 13 degrees. I'm not looking forward to spending the rest of the day down here, but I'll keep you up to date with things that are happening as we go through the match. Robbo?
Well, you've got some brave friends there, John. Pretty good crowd coming into Football Park this afternoon. Well, this has been the Crows' second season in the AFL, and Max Stevens has filed this backgrounder on the City of Adelaide and Football Park.
Known to most interstaters as the City of Churches, Adelaide over the years has been the centre of attention for some of the most bizarre crimes, from the missing Beaumont children in the 60s to the thrill killings of several young boys in the 80s by a group known as the Family. On the other hand, Adelaide is one of Australia's best kept secrets. No smog, no traffic hassles. This capital city is more like a big country town. In just 20 minutes, you can usually get from one side of Adelaide to the other, or from the hills to the beach. It's the home of the fastest race this nation has. Every November, Adelaide comes alive for the Formula One Australian Grand Prix. More tourist dollars change hands than at any other time of the year. When it comes to wine and restaurants, SA has some of the finest this country has on offer. Also trading well in Adelaide is the casino. Compared with most around Australia, Adelaide's would have to be considered a little more upmarket. And then there's the festival, which hits this city every 2 years. A theatrical smorgasbord for fans of the arts. And from the norm to the not so normal, you'll find it during the Adelaide Festival. South Australians pride themselves on being founded by free men. It's the only state in Australia that doesn't have a convict heritage. South Australians also pride themselves as being Aussie rules masters with a distinct dislike for anything Victorian. A quick trip from the city down Port Road will take you to the state's home of football, the South Australian National Football League's Football Park. Opened in 1976 and built on swampland, this multi-million-dollar stadium has become the home of the Adelaide Crows. But it wasn't as easy as all that. It took 5 years and a royal commission just to get the light towers up and the lights turned on. Local residents took the issue to court. For years, the SANFL kept telling the South Australian football public it didn't need the VFL come AFL and that this state wasn't interested in being part of the national competition. But in 1990, Port Adelaide changed all that. The Magpies pushed the local league to its limits, hence the eventual birth of the Adelaide Crows. For a state that was being sold it didn't want AFL football, near sellout crowds every week for Crows games has raised the question, should have Adelaide joined much earlier?
Well, both teams have made their way onto Football Park. Well, they're a hardened lot here in Adelaide and the fans have come out in force, but one of the most hardened of them all is down on the boundary line. John Casey, your tip.
Yes, thanks, Robbo. Conditions are deteriorating down here, as you can see. Melbourne have won the toss and are kicking to the northern end, so they'll have first use of the breeze, which is going to be